Welcome to Fractal Effects live stream. Please make sure you read the disclosure. If you're following along with us, make sure you do in a demo account, as this is for educational purposes only. We are not financial advisors, and this is not financial advice. Let's jump onto the charts. So we are still waiting for confirmation. 1 minute till range formation. We are bearish right now. London had a bearish signal. No real retracement. Small one here. Quickly shot off. A lot of consolidation. Now we're looking for a confirmation. Usually Mondays and Fridays are erratic, but since this week Monday was a bank holiday, Tuesday kind of takes on that role. We're seeing a huge range expansion. This is a big day candle. Since today is Tuesday, our new range is being formed. This is the old range between the aqua lines, and we're waiting for the new one. Still waiting for confirmation. Slowly getting confirmation now. 3 minutes, 22 seconds. Let's see if this sticks. Continuing to push down. 2 minutes, 30 seconds left. Goal is to get a bearish confirmation. See if we get some decent retracement back to the 20. It's the New York fair value gap above. No real fair value gaps on the 5-minute time frame. So unless this leaves one, it could just tap and start pushing. Just waiting and watching. No confirmation from ES yet. One minute, 19 seconds left. Again, we want to see this confirmation stick. We do have a small, this is why it's important to zoom in. And thankfully, the indicator itself has actually painted it out for us, because you could miss something like this, but we have a small fair value gap right here. Barely noticeable. It's the only other fair value gap outside of the New York fair value gap, so we could see potentially a retracement. Tap the 20, maybe hit that. We'll see the 20's moving fast, so is the market. Let's see what kind of a retracement we get. 15 seconds left. We will most likely get a confirmation right now. Yes, still struggling. It did take out the lows, so these markets are working in tangent. Okay, so there's our confirmation. Left a big fair value gap, but we want to see if where this candle closes and if this fair value gap stays open. We've been testing our new indicator. All alerts are working. Now all you have to do is set it. Add an alert. Make sure it's once per bar close. Leave it open-ended. And just hit spotlight confirmation, and you will get every notification every time we have a confirmation. We will be adding this to the orientation video as well. Or there's a reason why our strategy works between these hours. We're waiting for all the dust to clear. Look at this. All this consolidation. There are even people that were most likely using this as consolidation, manipulation, and looking for a long entry. They might have got stuck somewhere here. So right now, we have a bearish bias. We're only looking for sells. Just patiently waiting. We want to see some retracement. We want to see rejection happening off of some key zones. And then we'll look for an entry. Still driving down. We have 46 seconds, 45 seconds to see if this fair value gap sticks. Then this becomes our area of interest. It's way bigger than that. Also, the 20 EMA is already past that. Ideally, we want to see an area where the 20 EMA matches up with a fair value gap. Doesn't necessarily need to touch that 20, but just adds to our confluence, increases our probability. So now that becomes an area of focus in the next. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See how far we retrace back into the zone where the 20 is at. Let's see how long it takes. Just patiently watching. Remember, if you're following along, make sure you do in a demo account. We'll be setting up a video just on YouTube alone, a separate orientation video for people who are completely beginners that have never set up a broker account, have never used TradingView, etc. So we'll put something together that focuses only on our strategy and how to set up certain things on TradingView. And then as far as brokers, we can't recommend a broker for you, but we can roughly show you what to look for when selecting a broker. So that orientation video will be coming out soon. We're getting some retracement now back into the range. So the fair value gap is right at top of the, or sorry, bottom of the dealing range. Another key area to look for. Let's see if we get more gesticulation here while the 20 EMA draws lower. And see if we can't tap into this area and see that push. So far still pushing. ES has given us a confirmation as well. We're watching ES on the right, now it's on the left. Still driving lower. And this is fine. The more it gesticulates here, the lower the 20 gets, which again increases our probability. I'd love to see it tap into this zone, touch the bottom of the dealing range, hit the consequence encroachment, touch that 20, and then look for our entry. A lot of liquidity down here. 4-hour lows. Want to be watching the same market on multiple time frames. Remember, it's all fractals. Whatever is happening on a smaller time frame is happening on a bigger time frame. So on the 4-hour, we're moving towards the lows. So in the next 4 minutes, if this candle closes, this becomes a breakaway gap. So the market could just dip into here and push, but we'd have to see a lot of confluence in order to fall for that. I'm still more interested up here. Keep in mind, we're probability traders, high probability traders. Right now there is a 82% chance that we're going to retrace back into the range. I'd rather wait for that. Two minutes, 48 seconds left. Market still driving. 2 minutes, 15 seconds left. Anytime they leave a fair value gap like this, usually they use this as a manipulation play and then duck in. That's why, again, I'm more concerned with where that 20 EMA is. I want it to get closer, much closer than that. There's been no major retracement. We had a drop, we had consolidation, we had a drop. So if this is a runaway train, we're not going to try to jump on it. If it comes back into our range, then at least we're interested. Where day trading is not everyday trading. You got to be patient. Wait for the market to come to you, otherwise there's nothing to take. Sometimes the best trades are the ones that you don't take. ES, moving a little slower. We do have confirmation. No real retracement yet. I do like ES's fair value gap. It's a little higher, right in the dealing range itself. And ES is not. leaving, zoom in just to check. Yeah, we're not leaving any fair value gaps here, so this is the only fair value gap of interest as of yet. So we left another fair value gap completely open. So market will start gesticulating here, creating buy-sell orders. People looking to sell. People waiting for this to get over and potentially even head higher. The more gesticulation we see here, the more likely chances that it'll be swept. Market will tap into this zone, then push down. I do want to see some consolidation, that manipulation, and then distribution. Usually those manipulation plays are good to actually put your stop on. The bigger the wick, the tighter you can keep that stop loss. Usually right at it or 2 ticks above. Where the indicator paints out all the important lines for you. Today's Tuesday, so we're starting a new range. This is where last week's range ended. Two minutes, 47 seconds left. I like how that 20 is slowly moving into our fair value gap of interest. So just waiting. Closing in on 11 o'clock Eastern Standard. Remember, the only other indicator that you need on top of what we've already provided is the EMAs, exponential moving averages. You can just hit indicators and just search EMA. There's many up there. You can find specific ones. You can actually just change the EMAs to whatever you'd like. Our main primary focus is the 20, which is the red. The aqua is the 50. You can change the colors to whatever you want, and the 238. Everything else is provided within the actual indicator. The next version will actually have EMAs in it as well. Just right now, we've been working on a lot. For example, adding in the alerts. 37 seconds left. Let's see if it leaves another fair value gap open. Continuing to drive down. So we've left this fair value gap open as well. Same thing on ES, we have a second fair value gap now. 20 EMA slowly making its way into the biggest fair value gap right now. This breakaway gap is actually our point of interest right now. Does it need to trade all the way up in there? No. But I want to see what it does in this area first. See if it consolidates. It just taps and starts running. Remember, this thing has to look obvious. Still no solid entry. Just leaving breakaway gaps. Has not actually tapped into any of them yet. No real retracement. 3 minutes till 11. Again, this just kind of increases our probability. I want to see that 20 get closer to the consequence encroachment, which is the midpoint of this fair value gap. And I'd be interested for a play there. Right now we are oversold without a proper pullback. I'm not interested. That also puts us in the golden zone, 61% to 79. Another reason this area looks more interesting than any of these. Again, if we only retrace here into this fair value gap, that's only 30%. Anytime you see a turnaround at 30%, the market is extremely, extremely bullish or bearish. That's where that runaway train analogy comes into play. We do not want to try to catch that. This is still the area of interest. Might take a minute, but just be patient. ES looks like it's making some moves now. 20 is a little further away. Let's lay out the Fibonacci on this one as well. Bit of a smaller range. But again, right into 61 to 79%, the golden zone that we're interested in. Remember to continue to move the fib as the market moves. You want to make sure your measurements are accurate. Still just patiently watching. We did have a little bit of a drop there. Remember, the lower the market drops, the more it moves our position. 20 EMA right at the middle. 79 coming down. 61 to 79. That's where we're interested in right here in this zone. Finally getting some push up. Let's see. This gives us a proper retracement. Or if it just starts gesticulating here. Remember, the more consolidation we see here, the more chances it probably will get swept. But if we see a tap and a run, it's just a runaway market. We were never going to get in anyways. We'll be running live here Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, most likely for the next couple of months. And then we'll be moving everything to the back end dashboard of Fractal Effects. This was mostly just to introduce people to the indicator, the strategy, but the crux, the bread and butter, is still on Fractal Effects dashboard where we see actual algorithmic data, 20 years of aggregate that we utilize to show you where this algorithm is going to go next. That's how I know there's a higher probability, higher percentage chance that we're going to retrace back into at least the bottom of the dealing range. Does it have to? No. But again, higher probability. 70% or higher. That's what we wait for. Anything lower than that is gambling. I'm not interested here. This is a 30% retracement. The market suddenly shot off from here. There's no way of jumping on board. It's the first decent candle we've seen. ES slowly coming back into that range. We have ES on the right, now it's on the left. This could give us a push faster. I'd like that EMA to come down a little bit further. Let's move this Fibonacci out of the way, just so we're not distracted by it. ES now tapping the bottom of our dealing range, where this is where high probability trades happen. NAS slowly pushing up as well. NAS has a much further way to go. I'm sure we're going to see some manipulation here. It's got a lot of barriers. It's got to get past this fair value gap, so we could see some gesticulation or possibly even a takeoff from here. So ES looks like it's the more interesting asset to be watching right now. Remember, the aqua line is extending the bottom of the dealing range. So we just tapped that. I want to see a push into this fair value gap. We want to see proper rejection. This thing has to look obvious. Still nothing here. Three minutes, 25 seconds. Now again, if we tap this, we start seeing the gesticulation. Then our stops would most likely be right above this high. Unless this spikes, taps that 20, pushes down, then we can even use that spike. We'll see if it takes out these highs or not. Finally driving, getting closer to the midpoint of that fair value gap. Remember, these are bullish candles. So once we've hit our zone, we want to then start seeing some bearish candles. Some rejection happening in that area. That's what we want to focus on. So far it's looking good. Now some people jump in just because it hit middle. Remember, that's not what we're waiting for. We're waiting to see what the reaction is once it hits the middle. Let's move these Fibonacci out of the way here. So we've tapped the consequence encroachment now. The 20 is too close. Let's see if it wants to take out these highs, tap that 20, or if it wants to start pushing down from here. But ES is now more interesting than NAS. NAS has too many barriers to get through. Still driving. Still bullish. This one's close. Even if it just touches it, if it just kisses it, that'll increase our probability. If it touches the 20, stays below this high, we start getting rejection and wick. And we're officially interested. Remember, make sure you're watching it on multiple time frames. Right now, there's an area of interest right here. I want to see a tap. Reject off that. "15 seconds left for the 1 minute candle to close. This is now high probability area. Since the 20 EMA is still above us, this thing could go a little higher. So our stops would be closer to here. Move this out of the way. I want to see a candle reject off of that zone first, and then an engulfing candle. Remember, just because we paint this out, this is more or less just to see what this looks like. Still waiting for a proper rejection on a smaller time frame. Unfortunately, on YouTube, there's only so many screens I can share. So right now we actually closed above our zone. Unless this next one engulfs it, it could push higher, closer to that 20. Didn't quite get the engulfing that I wanted. This one's still pushing down. "34 seconds left in the 5-minute close. 20 getting even lower. Now that the 20 is lower than the high here, there's a higher probability chance that it will not take out this high. That will most likely push down from this zone. We can wait for one more candle rejection just to verify it. Looks like it still wants to go touch that 20. Now slowly making its way up as well to the area of interest. 20 now sitting right in our fair value gap of interest. The more ES gesticulates, the more this 20 comes down, and most likely will just sweep these tops. Give us a spike and push down. Or I could just push straight from here. On ES, we have not taken this top. It's at 1108. This is the play, most likely. Just waiting now. A lot of gesticulation happening. Usually when this happens, again, there's one last sweep. Just to touch that 20, but it's still under your, it'd still be under your stop loss anyways. So an entry in anywhere here. Is the play. Again, if you're following along with us today, make sure you're doing a demo account. You want to make sure you practice the strategy. You understand why these areas are of interest. You want to make sure you understand all the key aspects of the indicator, what we're looking for to make it a high probability trade. Going for a 1 to 3, I just want to see where 1 to 2 is. Remember, as soon as it hits 2R, you want to move your stop loss to break even. You want to take some off the table, and it becomes a safe trade. That's 2R. And make sure you're looking at the right broker too. Make sure you have the right ticker that matches your broker. In the past, we've had users looking at my charts, for example, as opposed to their own. Remember, they'll be moving pretty close. It's just the price specifically changes broker to broker. Sorry, just trying to get there. You go. That's 3. 20 EMA, gotten lower. Can you jump back up and tap that? Sure. The stops are set. Right there. Okay. Sorry, it's hard moving this during a live stream. Let's just give it a little bit of room. We're hoping for some clean price action now, but keep in mind, because of the long weekend, because of the bank holiday on Monday, Tuesdays do act a little erratic. We did have news drop at 10 o'clock. The 20 EMA getting even lower on NAS. So now it's using this fair value gap to do the manipulation. I could just tap right into this one, touch that 20, push down. We might not even tap this zone, even though the higher probability trades are here. Another rejection here. We got 1, 2, 3 off that fair value gap. There's only one thing that would make this an even higher probability trade is if it taps the 20 EMA, which is getting lower and lower. Since it is a small range, we're hoping that it doesn't take out the tops before pushing down, but the play is right here. Obviously much smaller zone, much smaller range on ES, but we did still get to the 61%, just a little under 71. Remember, even though it's a demo account, make sure you guys are using a pip calculator. You should only be risking 1% of your balance. Risk 1 to make 3. It's risk management and money management where most people fail. They don't set their stop losses, they over leverage, they blow out their account. You want to make sure you proceed with caution. That's why we're continuing to manage even after we get to 2R. Push down happening here. On NAS, we're starting to get that manipulation play here. We're getting consolidation. Let's see if we get this, manipulation here, tap the 20, push down. We got 19 seconds left for this candle close. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 candles closing in this zone. 20 EMA slowly coming down closer. Remember, that's ES on the right, NAS on the left. Even when you're about to enter your trades with your broker, people have made mistakes and click the wrong ticker. That happens actually quite a bit, depending on what platform you're trading off of. TradingView can actually link into, you can trade right off of TradingView. You can link into your broker. Just hit Trading Panel, link your broker. Place the trade straight from here if you'd like. Not that we're recommending it, again, just letting you know. A lot of people don't realize that you can actually trade right off of TradingView itself. Whichever method works for you. Remember, this strategy works on regardless if you're trading futures, CFDs, commodities, precious metals. This works. This is for day trading. We are putting together a different strategy for swing trading, for longer term holds. That'll be most likely in the next 3 months. Unlike most platforms that have thousands of videos and hundreds of convoluted strategies and indicators, we only have one. One indicator, one strategy. That's all of our, pretty much anything in the back. Learning Hub, that's what we're teaching. Anytime you see us live on the charts, that's exactly what we're following. So ES, back into the fair value gap again, drawn to that 20 EMA. Also giving time for NAS to slowly make its way up to this fair value gap, most likely hit that 20. Closing in on 1130. Those are the highest probability trades when we see it hit and reject the 20 EMA. Leave a wick. Still stay within our golden zone. NAS not quite where we'd like to see it yet. We'd like to see that 20 come down closer. Or at least a candle spike touch that 20, close within this fair value gap now. Maybe even touch this. I doubt we'll get to the consequence encroachment, but we'll see. 20 EMA drawing down even further. Sometimes it doesn't want to push until it's touched it. Let's move this over. We're at 11:30 now. It does. Still at that fair value gap. Let's see if it wants to push down. Hopefully they both push down at the same time. We want to see it at least take out these lows. Hit the 2R. Now it's starting to give us a bit of a push here. EMA slowly coming into that fair value gap now. A lot of consolidation. EMA, excuse me, 20 EMA, even closer into the fair value gap now. Still waiting to see that displacement, that push. Still drawn to that 20. We'd like to see that push hopefully soon, even if it wants to tap that 20. But the closer we get to noon, the lower our probability becomes. We do not want to be trading during lunch hour, Eastern Standard Time. That's when the algorithm becomes erratic. There's been many times we've entered a position, been in profit, and even though it's heading in the direction of our TP, we jump out at noon, just to be safe. Remember, anything that turns this into more of a 50-50 or a gambling situation, we don't want to be a part of it. You got to treat this like a day job. Again, drawn to that 20, wanted to touch it. Also giving NAS an opportunity to slowly get closer to it as well. There goes NAS. Yes, just touched the 20 on the 5. Let's see what we get from here. We don't want to see it do a quick run up here, take out those highs. We want to see it reject off this 20, push down. Still just patiently waiting. We do have consolidation. What we don't want to see is a push to sweep these tops, then a push down. It's one of the reasons I'm not the biggest fan of small ranges. In order to gather more liquidity, which is the lifeblood of the market, sweeps the smaller ones, the smaller highs, smaller lows, intermediate term highs and lows. 1 minute 55 seconds left in this candle close. We'd like to see that wick. We'd like to see a push down. We'd like to see that next candle engulf this and keep going. On NAS, 20 EMA getting even closer. Excuse me. About 20 minutes left until noon. I'd like to see that push. 40 seconds left in this candle. We want to see that wick stay. We want to see that next candle engulf it. To really give us an indication that this thing wants to push down. Ten seconds. Zoom in a little bit. Faster we take out these lows, higher the probability that this thing will push, at least into our safety zone. Let's see if we can't get down here before noon. There's a fair value gap here. Bullish fair value gap. We want to cut right through it. Could see some gesticulation here, but ideally we'd like to just push past it. Three minutes left in this candle. We want to see displacement. We want to see big candles moving fast. We don't want to see it staying in a zone too long. As you can see, right from the get-go, right from the open, we had a downside expansion. Not too much retracement. Never even came into this fair value gap, which was close to 50%. Remember, all these points are marked off. This becomes our dealing range. This gray dotted line right here, which you can turn solid just by going into the options. That is the midpoint of the dealing range. That's 50%. That red line, that's the last closing candle of the range. There's a green line indicating the opening of the range. It's right under this dotted line. So we're still in this fair value gap. Ideally, we want little to no resistance. We'd like to see it continue to push past this. That increases the probability that it'll get to our safety zone. Otherwise, it could just gesticulate, consolidate here. What we don't want to see, pretty much, leading into noon. That's the bottom of the fair value gap. We want to see it push right through, close under it. So now we've swept all these lows. Getting more reaction off that fair value gap. On NAS, the 20 EMA is now fully in that fair value gap. As could spike touch that. As is yet to touch the 20. Yes. Still just playing in that fair value gap. Remember, this works on futures, CFDs. Right now we're looking at the US 500, which is the CFD, not the futures contract. It's the same stuff happening on ES right now. We zoomed in on ES real quick. Just touching the 20 now. Three minutes left in this candle close. Sorry, the charts are moving a little slow here. Second we go live, everything starts moving super, super slow. We'd like to see that fair value gap stay open, that red one. We had 2 minutes, 31 seconds. "13 minutes left till noon. Hopefully we get a push. Our strategy actually keeps us from just mindlessly staring at a market. You know, if you're not in a trade by 11:30, you're done for the day. If you're in a trade, you want to be done by noon. 1 hour of trading. That's it. You don't catch it in the morning, catch it during the Asian session. If you like to stay up late, catch during the London session. Remember, there's a play almost every session. We get almost it's a high probability chance we're going to get confirmation. And there's 3 sessions in a day. Let's just kind of back up and take a look at London again while this takes its time. Again, London, this is London session. We had a confirmation, small retracement back into our fair value gap. Luckily here, the fair value gap and all the EMAs were all bunched together right there at the bottom of the range. We'll zoom in after just to show you. But this was a great place to push. It didn't stay there very long. But when you have this much confluence in one area, it won't stay there very long. We'll get a faster push. That's why I actually like London session. We had our full extension and then continue to drop. This is extremely bearish today. Still stuck in that fair value gap for ES. 10 minutes till noon. Slowly getting some movement now. like to break this range. If we get one displacement candle and we take out the bottom here, then we at least know that it's going to run to our safety zone here, 2R. We'll remove our stop losses to break even. We take a percentage off the table, booked. Then this becomes a safe trade. Then you can actually let it run. Then it's up to you. Once you hit a safe trade, you can either let it run to your TP, you can completely close it out if you hit noon and you feel like you're not going to be able to watch the market. But we'd like to see it at least hit this. 9 minutes till noon. Still in this fair value gap. Eight minutes left. Nas even worse off. Still just consolidating, has not touched the 20. Doesn't need to necessarily, but when it's this close, it almost makes sense for it to wick it, then push. Let's see if ES actually takes out the lows. Nas is closer to taking out its previous lows at least. Seven minutes left. Again, we kind of expected this. The Tuesday after a bank holiday or a long weekend usually behaves like Mondays. It's one of the reasons we don't do Mondays. We do Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Does the strategy work on Mondays and Fridays? Yes. Does it work on Saturday on Bitcoin? Yes. It's just whether or not we actually want to be trading. Remember, ideally when you're starting off, you just want to make sure you get one winning trade a week. With 1 to 3 risk to reward, that's 3% you're gaining every week. That's 12% a month. If you're compounding correctly, you make sure you're actually managing your risk, managing your positions, then it becomes a day job. Our goal is not to be making flamboyant moves where we try to gain $20,000, $30,000 in a move. But slowly as you compound, if you're doing everything correctly, then it turns into a 6-figure, 7-figure day job, but still a day job. Six minutes left. Looks like it's going back up to tap that 20 again. Five minutes. So again, by noon, if we have not broken this range, it's best to just get out at break even. Or if you're in profit, then even better. But I don't like the fact they've held this range for this long. Especially with ES when it's done everything it needs to do. It's already tapped the 20. It's already taken out the liquidity here with this candle. Now it should push. The fact that it doesn't means they're possibly setting it up for manipulation. especially close to noon. As mentioned before, a different algorithm takes over at noon, a more chaotic algorithm. It's better to actually trade going more into the afternoon. Still having an issue getting past this fair value gap. So they're using this fair value gap and this fair value gap to engineer new liquidity. There's people going short and people going long. Four minutes left. We are in profit. I don't see it break this range. I'd like to see one quick candle at least break this range. Nas very close to taking out the lows. Very close. Let's see if it just gives us that one extra pip. There you go. Nas broke the lows. Now let's see if ES follows. Otherwise, they could be pausing ES while they take these lows, gather more liquidity for NAS, and try to push up. 3 minutes. If we have not broken this range, I will be closing the position. Not exactly what we like to see on Tuesdays, but again, it's just because of the long weekend. Volume is much lower on Mondays when people are trading. During holidays, I should say. Two minutes left. It's also about knowing when to walk away. That's the whole point of risk management. Now, in 1 minute 35 seconds, this candle has not closed below this. I'll be walking away, even though there's a high probability chance that it will at least hit our safety zone and even potentially our TP. But if I didn't close this by noon, I'd be going against all my rules. That's how you stay profitable. 1 minute 7 seconds. Be sure to check us out on fractaleffects.com. We're live Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays on YouTube for now. Eventually, we will be moving this to the back end of the dashboard. Please hit that like button. Turn on your notifications. Please subscribe so you know when we're actually live. About 20 seconds left. Nas took the lows, but still paused. Ten seconds left. And I am closing the position. This is where we entered. We closed her off in profit, but again, now that we're going into noon, the probabilities change. We did not break the low. It took too long, consolidated way too long in this zone. Once it's done what it's supposed to do, once it's swept the top and actually pushed away from a fair value gap, it should be moving quickly with displacement candles. Remember, it doesn't like to stay in fair value for too long. Once it's been delivered, it should push. That's one of the reasons we close our position. And thanks for checking us out today. We will be live tomorrow